a partial reprise of what we read in more detail in our 7, text A. And I'm thinking of just one line here, Iliad 23, line 326. And it's that all-important moment when Nestor is telling his son Antilochus that he has for his son a sign, a Sema, a very clear one, he says, which will not get lost in your thinking. And, well, we have seen already in hours 7 and 8 that this sign of Nestor has many different ways to go and many different directions, and they all add up in the full scheme of things. But what I want to emphasize here again is that the Sema is not just a signal, it's also the tomb of the hero. And I can't emphasize enough, so I'll just emphasize again that the fact that in ancient Greek song culture, the word that means meaning is also the word that means the tomb of the hero is just something to marvel at. It shows how important the hero is, how important the hero is in death, how important it is for us to understand life as a fulfillment that leads to all these ideals that can then come into play as we mortals interact with the heroes of the past.
I will tell you a sign, a very clear one, which will not get lost in your thinking.
Here again, you have a character talking to another character, saying, I have a signal for you. And it turns out that the signal, again, points to the tomb of a hero. Just as we saw in the case of Nestor talking to Antilochus and saying, I have a signal for you. And then it turns out to be all about the tomb of a hero here again. Except this time the tomb of the hero is the tomb of Odysseus, which is a much more complex and difficult to think about kind of tomb. And even the way it's imagined is more difficult for us because you'll never get a direct description of the tomb of Odysseus in the Odyssey.
It can't be seen?
It can't be seen.
Or visualized?
Or, well, could I say, it can be seen, but it has to be seen with otherworldly vision. It has to be visualized. And look who's talking here. It's a seer.
Right.
So it's somebody who has that special vision. In fact, in life, Teiresias is blind. So he was blind in life, so presumably even in the afterlife, there he is having consciousness, and he has a vision. Can we just stick with that word? He has a vision, but that vision is otherworldly. It's not of this world. And it's guaranteed in the case of Teiresias, at least in life, because he can't see. So here we are. He's saying, I'll give you a sign and it's clear. Well, yeah, it's maybe clear to him, but we will have a very hard time puzzling over this. How exactly are we supposed to visualize, imagine the tomb of Odysseus?
I think it's really interesting that Teiresias is, the epic makes very clear that Teiresias has phrenes that are steadfast, even in death.
Even in death.
But here's the sign that he's sort of holding on to, right?
He's really holding on to consciousness, to that special kind of consciousness that brings noos. And
which you typically don't have in the underworld, is that correct?
Ordinarily, if you're in this transitional phase of Hades, it's not a time to be illuminated about anything. If you're righteous, you hope you get to the other side, so to speak, and then you get into a paradise-like situation where, yes, things become clearly defined, but Hades is messy, it's chaotic, it's, to say it in one word, transitional.